So I grew up in a Christian home and went to church pretty much every Sunday. And we went to Sunday school, did all the things, worshiped the Lord, and yeah, but I didn't have a relationship with Jesus at that point. So we were, it was always, for me, it was more like we had to do things. We had to go to church, we had to tithe, we had to, go to church every Sunday. And if we didn't, then inside I felt like disappointed or ashamed. And I even remember growing up that it was super loud at the church that we were at, and my mum and the kids, we were separated into another section, the foyer, and we had to close this glass door when we were in church. And I guess with that experience, it was almost like I felt real isolated, even like we were, on the other side, but we were looking into church. And this was what my relationship with Jesus was at the point. It was like I was on the other side, but I hadn't invited Jesus into my heart, and I was looking at Jesus or looking at church from an exterior point of view. And this really changed my life when I went on a camp. Right, we went on a young adults camp one time. It was up at Mount Canagan, up the mountain between here and Gympie. And one of the youth leaders at the time, Andrew Jones, was like, "Hey, we're going to go for a walk around the circuit in nature, like where we are today, and hear from the Lord." And at the time, I was really into filming and was shooting content all the time. I was like, "Hey, Andrew, can I bring my camera and film this moment?" And he said to me, "Just have a think about it." So I just had to think about it for a few seconds. I was like, "Actually, no, I might set aside this camera for this time and really try and hear from the Lord." Now, I had been filming for a long time prior to this, and it was almost like camera work had become my identity, and I could hide behind it, and everyone knew me as a cameraman at church and all the other areas. But this time I set aside my camera. It was almost like I was letting go of the things I was hanging on to that was stopping me from having a relationship with God. And yeah, I remember saying that I don't think I've ever heard from the Lord before. And I remember as we walked on this little circuit, I just cried out to the Lord. I said, "Jesus, if you're real, I want you to reveal yourself to me." And just like we're talking, just like we're right here with one another, Jesus came to me in the Spirit right in front of me. And it was a surreal experience that I experienced, and he had something for me. He showed me two things, right? So we have the grass, it was a picture of this grass, right? And I was looking all around, there was all this grass surrounding me, and there was all these little seeds on this grass trees. And I saw all the seeds being taken off and then spreading all around the nations and all different areas. And when I looked at Jesus, he had something for me. And I said, and he was holding out his hand, and it was a key. So I grabbed it and I said, "Jesus, what is this key for?" And he said, "This key is going to help you to unlock other people's hearts to know me." And from that experience, I felt the love and the presence of Jesus for the very first time. And I remember that night we had a worship session where we were worshiping the Lord, and I was just on the ground just crying and bawling my eyes out, because I just knew that Jesus loved me and he cared for me, and he was with me, and I invited him into my heart that night. So it was like that door of my heart was really open to receive him. And I was struggling with a lot of sins at the time as well, like pornography, and even my own identity was in my own friends. So when I was hanging out with the friends, I was having so much fun and joy, but then when I was on my own, I was really depressed and wasn't sure what was going on. But it was only Jesus that really filled that void. And when I received Jesus that night into my heart, all these things I was carrying on to, I was releasing to him and letting go of him, and all the sins that I'd been doing and I'd been involved in. Jesus was like, "Hey, you don't need that anymore. You've got me now." So yeah, I released that and handed it to him, and there was just such a freedom in my heart. And I just remember crying, bawling my eyes out, and it was like the tears on the ground was like that high from all my cries that night. But yeah, it was just such a profound moment that when I encountered Jesus and really had a relationship with him. So if you're in a place of knowing that there's a God out there, or if you pray, know that Jesus wants a personal relationship with you, and all it is to open the door of your heart to invite him in. So yeah, I hope this story inspires you and encourages you that, you know, Jesus is real, he loves you, and he has a plan and purpose for you. You know, we can go to church and do all the things, but it's about inviting Jesus into our heart to have a relationship with him. So bless you guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.